I'm Shogun Penguin.
And I'm DJ Shiba.
For most of the 20th century, Tonkotsu ramen was the embarrassment of Japanese food.
Wait, embarrassment? Ramen?
So foul-smelling that restaurant owners in Fukuoka literally refused to serve it indoors.
So how did it end up with 2-hour lines in Manhattan?
Because a broke 28-year-old with zero culinary training decided the problem wasn't the soup, it was everything around it. Okay, so picture Fukuoka, late 1940s. The war just ended. The city's rebuilding. Down in the Nakasu and Tenjin districts, dock workers and laborers needed cheap, hot food fast. So these rickety wooden carts, yatai, start popping up on the streets, selling tonkotsu ramen.
Right, the little street stalls. Those are iconic now.
Iconic now. Back then, they were the only option. No real restaurant would touch tonkotsu.
Why not? It's just pork broth, right?
You boil pork femur bones at a rolling boil for 12 to 18 hours. The collagen breaks down into that thick, milky broth. But it also releases a sulfurous stench, almost rotten, that clings to walls, clothes, everything.
Oh no, neighbors must have loved that.
Complaints. Landlords refused leases. You literally could not rent a building to make this stuff. And in Japan's food world of the 70s and 80s, the hierarchy was brutal. Kaiseki at the top, sushi very respected. Ramen, especially tonkotsu, sat near the bottom. The common line among trained chefs was, ramen is not ryori, not real cuisine.
Associated with drunk salarymen stumbling home at 2 a.m.
Exactly. Now into this world walks Kawahara Shigemi. Young guy from Fukuoka, no restaurant family, no culinary diploma. He'd been working odd jobs, reportedly including a clothing store, just watching yatai culture from the outside.
So the broth people now line up 2 hours for in Manhattan was literally too stinky for a proper restaurant.
So if no landlord would rent to a tonkotsu shop, and no chef school would teach you how to make it, what do? You stop thinking like a chef. You start thinking like a designer. October 1985. Kawahara is in his late 20s. He opens a ramen shop in Daimyo, Fukuoka.
Daimyo, isn't that the boutique and streetwear district?
Exactly. Not a restaurant neighborhood, a fashion neighborhood. That was deliberate. He named it Ippudo, Yi Feng Tang, meaning a house of one unique wind. Not a food word, a brand identity. In the interior, Shiba, this broke every single ramen shop rule in the book.
How so?
In 1985, 90% of ramen shops in Fukuoka had fluorescent tube lighting, plastic stools, and a ticket machine at the door. Kawahara put in warm wood counters, soft indirect lighting, and open kitchen. He'd been studying European cafe design in magazines.
A ramen shop that looked like a coffee house?
But, and this is the crucial part, he didn't water down the broth, didn't reduce the pork smell, didn't make it polite. Tonkotsu ramen was punk rock, loud, raw, born in the gutter. Kawahara didn't clean it up, he just gave punk rock its own concert hall.
So the soup stayed aggressive, but the room said, "You belong here?"
And suddenly women started coming in, young couples on dates, demographics that had never set foot in a ramen shop. Kawahara said his goal was to make ramen a place you'd take a date. In 1985, people thought that was absurd.
I mean, hey babe, wanna go smell some pork bones? Not the smoothest line.
And yet it worked. In the mid-1990s, Kawahara won a TV champion ramen competition, broadcast nationally on prime time.
The guy with no training became the most famous ramen chef in Japan?
But conquering Fukuoka is one thing. Convincing New Yorkers to wait 2 hours in January for a bowl of pork soup? That requires a completely different kind of madness. Okay, important context. Before 2008, ramen in America meant one thing, the 25-cent instant packet.
Maruchan, the college survival kit.
Fresh ramen shops existed. Momofuku Noodle Bar opened in 2004, Minka in the East Village. But no ramen-only restaurant had yet broken through to serious New York Times dining coverage. Early 2008, Ippudo opens at 65 4th Avenue in the East Village. 40 seats, no reservations. Within the first week, average wait time hit 2 hours. Lines wrapped around the block in freezing late winter weather.
For ramen in New York, where you can get anything delivered in 20 minutes.
Then in 2008, the New York Times sent critic Sam Sifton. He called the Akamaru modern, rich, deep, and utterly convincing. First time a ramen-only restaurant received a full NYT dining review. That's a big deal.
But why did it work? Did he change the recipe for American tastes?
That's the thing. He didn't. Same Fukuoka-style milky tonkotsu. Same thin, straight Hassuman noodles. Same chashu sliced to Ippudo's exact thickness spec. What he adapted was the experience. The same warm wood, open kitchen, date night atmosphere he'd pioneered in Daimyo 23 years earlier.
The same trick that worked in Fukuoka worked in Manhattan.
Americans weren't just eating ramen. They were entering a world. and the ripple effect was massive. Within a few years, Ivan Ramen, Toto Ramen, and a wave of serious ramen shops opened across Manhattan and Brooklyn. Food journalists started calling 2008 to 2014 the NYC ramen boom. Ippudo was ground zero.
Okay, so he won New York. But 250 locations in 13 countries? That's not a restaurant, that's a chain. Doesn't that ruin it?
That's exactly the question Kawahara asked himself, and his answer might be the most Japanese thing in this entire story. By the 2020s, Ippudo, through parent company Chikara Holdings, operates hundreds of locations worldwide. Singapore, Sydney, London, Paris, across Southeast Asia. At that scale, most food brands standardize. Central kitchens, frozen supply chains, a manual and a microwave.
The fast food playbook.
Kawahara went the other direction. He created what I call the pilgrimage rule. Every head chef at every international Ippudo location, Singapore, Paris, New York, doesn't matter, must travel to Fukuoka. They train at the original kitchen for 2 to 3 months, sometimes longer. Not a crash course, a pilgrimage.
Months? Just to learn how to make the broth?
Not just the broth, the rhythm, the timing, the culture. Kawahara has said, ramen cannot be taught by manual. It must be felt through repetition. Sound familiar? That's the Shokunin tradition. The same apprenticeship system behind sushi, sword making, even lacquerware.
Hold on, and the guy who had no training, no master, no credentials?
Built the most rigorous training pipeline in the entire global ramen industry. Yeah, the system that rejected him, that said, ramen is not ryori, he didn't fight it. He outbuilt it. And the irony is, the system he built is more traditionally Japanese than the ones that rejected him.
So the outsider became the tradition.
In 2023, Kawahara, now in his mid-60s, still visits international locations personally. His stated goal is for Ippudo to outlive him, not as a brand, as a culture.
A dish too smelly for a restaurant, a kid too untrained for the industry, and now 250 bowls of punk rock served in concert halls around the world.
If this story surprised you, hit subscribe. We drop new food history every week.
Like the video if you learned something, and tell us in the comments, what's a food you think deserves more respect than it gets?